Stop! Stop!
On!
Stop! Stop! Driver! Driver!
That's Rat Control. He's a runaway. Towards Wellsworth. We were off unclear when the trucks bumped him.
Everyone, please stand back. There's a runaway coming through.
What? A runaway?
It's James. The trucks.
John, your shovel. James's brake line.
Of course.
Look out! Up ahead! Look out! Get clear!
Well done, John. You've hit it for 6.
Well, for 5 anyway.
I've stopped. You there, on the platform. Are you alright?
I don't think so, James. My wrist, feels funny.
Station master, please call a doctor, quickly.
It's alright. I'm a doctor. I'm afraid it's broken. You'll need an X-ray, but I suspect the bones may have been shattered.
Shattered bones?
What happened back there?
He smashed open the brake valve at the end of your train.
Thank you. I do appreciate this.
You're welcome, James. Once Rowan had helped James back to the station, the latter's train was inspected. Only the brake van was damaged by the hit from the shovel. Once it was replaced, James was able to continue his journey. As he headed off, he couldn't help worrying. This accident would need a full investigation, and Emily Helen Hatt did not stand for any sort of nonsense on her railway. Sure enough, James was ordered to remain in the sheds. Bear was sent to take his next train. The Fat Controller soon arrived.
Hello, James. I'd like a word with you about that incident at Wellsworth.
Of course, ma'am.
An inspector from the Safety Directorate will be arriving later to investigate. However, initial reports indicate that your train was almost exactly your ruling load.
What?
As you know, James, our rules say train size would be at least 10 tons under your ruling load, precisely to prevent these sorts of accidents. Didn't you feel the train was a bit heavy?
Yes, but I thought it was just the trucks holding back. They do like to trick an engine so.
Nevertheless, James, it is every engine's responsibility to ensure they are operating safely. That includes speaking up when needed. You know that saying, don't you? About what the rule books are written in?
Yes, ma'am. Red. And they don't mean paint.
You need to remember you're not Henry or Gordon or Peter.
I'm still capable of pulling mainline trains.
I never said you weren't, James. Is that what this is about? Were you trying to prove something?
Not really.
Was it another miscommunication then? Like when you helped on Edward's branch line a few weeks ago?
Not at all, ma'am. I made sure to listen to Caden. He insisted that I take the entire train with me. I didn't think there'd be any harm in it.
I see. But I'm disappointed.
I take your point, ma'am. I'm sorry. Is Edward's fireman alright?
Yes, I'm assured he's getting the best medical care available.
Do you think I could somehow see him, Ma'am? I'd like to thank him and apologise.
I should be able to arrange that. It may not be for a while, though. He needs all the rest he can get.
I understand, Ma'am.
Speaking of that, you're to report to the works. I want you to have a full inspection before returning to duty.
Understood, Ma'am.
You'll likely be there overnight. Perhaps you'll take the chance to consider your responsibilities.
With that, the Fat Controller left. A short while later, the inspector arrived. He and the Fat Controller interviewed Edward and Rowan to get their testimony about the accident. After this, they moved along the line. They spoke to every engine who'd seen James pass by and their crew. At Crovan's Gate, they spoke to both James and Rheneas. The latter had seen the ill-fated train go by. All the testimony was somewhat consistent. Those witness accounts led them to Barrow-in-Furness and a certain diesel shunter.
Good evening, Caden. This gentleman is from the Safety Directorate. We'd like to have a word about James's incident earlier today. Now, James told me you insisted that he take the entire train of trucks with him.
He didn't put up much of a protest, Mom.
Yes, I've already spoken to him about that. Both Eric and Rheneas said James was pulling a long train when he passed them. In fact, Eric said he'd never seen James pull that many trucks at once. And there is a reason for that. All trains are to be at least 10 tons below the rolling load of the locomotive hauling them. That's for safety. You should know how trucks like to play tricks. So, tell me, exactly why did you insist that James take an overloaded train?
Miss Hatt, there are two other facts I'd like you to consider. Firstly, Bear was supposed to take that train. Secondly, more than half of it was milk tankers or dairy wagons.
Go on, Caden.
It is summer, Miss Hatt. We've had instances before where dairy wagon loads have spoiled after being in the sun for too long. It was just within James's ruling load, Miss Hatt.
You didn't consider removing some of the non-dairy wagons?
Well, trucks are only useful when they're moving, Ma'am. I mean, a stationary truck isn't carrying anything anywhere, is it?
That is one way of looking at it.
I do need to consider that sort of thing, Ma'am. Track what's coming in, what needs to go out, who's arriving when and what they need to take. All this while shunting trucks and coaches to the station too. All these other engines need to do is show up, collect what I've laid out for them and saunter off. I didn't think there'd be any harm in one of them doing a bit more work.
And they trust you to get their trains ready. Okay then, you do the right thing and own up. Then you spout that boulder dash.
Ma'am, I'm sorry,
I'm very disappointed in you, Caden. There was some harm done. Edward's fireman has several shattered bones in what was his right arm.
I am sorry, Miss Hatt. Please give me another chance.
You've had your second chance. Remember your bump with Shane? And that mix-up with the diesel fuel? You're to go to your shed.
But what about my yard?
Sheffield is due in soon. He can take over until I've decided what to do with you.
What about Sheffield's train? He's got to take some trucks down to Tidmouth.
I can take care of that, Miss Hatt. Caden has already done enough damage. Alice or Patrick can cover my next passenger train.
Thank you, Gordon. That sounds like Sheffield. I'll give him his orders. But while you're in the shed, Caden, there's one thing I'd like you to consider.
And what would that be, Ma'am?
Decisions have consequences.
With that, the Fat Controller strode off. Caden backed down into the shed. He didn't dare look at Gordon.
You really have done it now.
Early the next morning, Boko arrived in the main yard, a string of trucks behind him.
Good morning, Diesel. Hello? Diesel. It's Boko. We got the morning delivery from Brenton.
Morning, Boko.
Morning, Iris. Have you seen Diesel about at all?
Oh, he's probably just over at the harbour. It's getting busy over there. I take it you're here for the usual?
I'd say so.
Iris quickly set to work. A little while later, she had finished shunting Boko's trucks. Good morning, Boko. Just leave your trucks and I'll sort you out.
Dinner fast yourself, Diesel. I've got it.
I wouldn't try that voice in front of Donald and Douglas if I were you.
Yes, Diesel. You clear to go, Boko.
Thank you.
Boko departed, and Diesel gave Iris a grateful look. Thank you, Iris. I really do appreciate this.
No bother at all, dear. Called away to the harbour again?
Yes, the Winterker was due out of port. Had to leave on the tide.
So you were tied up there again?
That's the third time this week alone.
I know. I'll sort something out.
Have you let the fat controller know?
Well, I haven't exactly had time to send her a deputation.
In other words, no?
I understand you're worried, Iris, but if you stay here to argue, I won't be the only one falling behind with their work. Iris departed without another word. She knew when to take a hint, but all the same, she couldn't help worrying. She and Diesel had become good friends, and she didn't like seeing him stressed. Surely there must be something she could do. She found Peter waiting in the container yard, talking to the fat controller.
I mean, you know him better than anyone else on the railway.
In all fairness to Caden, ma'am, he has spent most of the last few decades stuck up in Barrow, away from the rest of us. He's not even on the same chunk of land.
I see. So you think he could learn, then?
I believe so, yes.
Then it's a question of where.
Excuse me, Miss Hat, but may I be able to suggest something?
Iris said, and she explained about Diesel being overworked.
You should have told me sooner. I'd have sorted something out.
Sorry, Ma'am, but we haven't exactly had the time.
I think Diesel would be a good teacher for Caden, ma'am. I mean, he did manage to turn himself around.
Very well, I'll arrange it.
Thank you, Ma'am. I'll let Diesel know.
A few hours later, Diesel's shunting was interrupted by an unfamiliar horn. It's Caden, isn't it? I've been expecting you.
The fat controller said you could use my help.
That's one way of putting it. You've got two options.
And what would those be?
There's the main yard and pilot duties for Knapford Station. Then there's looking after the harbour. Both jobs are big enough for a dedicated shunter these days. Is there one you'd prefer?
Would it be alright if I took the harbour? A clean break would be better, I think. Less chance of bad habits returning.
Really? Have you had any experience shunting harbours?
A little bit, before I came to Barrow.
Very well, Diesel replied. He gave Caden an overview of the harbour work and showed him around. The smaller Diesel paid attention and listened closely. This was a relief to Diesel, who'd only known Caden by his reputation. And if you have more trucks than siding space, you can leave the extras here.
That's convenient.
Indeed. I believe it was originally built for some sort of rail ferry.
A ferry? To that misty island? Over on the horizon?
That's the Isle of Man, and I believe that was the idea. It never ran, though.
So they don't have trains over there?
I've heard they do, but they're smaller ones, like Skarloey and his friends.
I see. Thank you, Diesel. That's been very helpful.
With that, the smaller engine departed. Diesel watched him go. Given what he'd heard from the other engines, Caden's choice had been surprisingly mature. After checking in with the harbour master, Caden set to work. He started carefully while he got used to the layout of the harbour and the way things had to be arranged, but he quickly got the hang of it and soon settled into the rhythm of the work. While he had no problems with the trucks, the same could not be said for the other engines. Diesel and Iris were polite enough when they came to drop off and pick up trucks for their yards, but it seemed word of James's accident yesterday had spread across the railway. At best, the other engines treated Caden with suspicion. However, Henry and the other mainline engines barely said a word to him. That was understandable. In fact, Caden preferred it. After all, they could have yelled at him. Much to his relief, James didn't come into the harbour at all. Caden soon found out why. Just before lunchtime, Gordon arrived to pick up a passenger train from the harbour. A ferry had arrived from Ireland, and plenty of passengers were waiting. The former express engine smoothly backed down onto the coaches, and was coupled up. While the passengers boarded, Gordon looked over.
Caden, I'd like a word with you.
Is this about yesterday?
Indeed.
I'm sorry about what happened. I will apologise to James when I see him.
You won't be seeing James for a day or two.
Is he that angry?
No. Miss Hat sent him to the Peel Godred branch this morning to help the electric engines with their rush.
I thought Sheffield usually does that.
He does, but he's looking after Barrow, remember? So now James has to cover for him, and we've got to cover for James. Schedules have to be rearranged, routines are a bit up in the air, and all because you thought we mainline engines needed to work a little bit harder. Peter even had to cover one of my passenger trains yesterday afternoon.
I'm sorry.
I'd say I'd never heard such boiler sludge in my life. But I have.
You have? When?
Just over 90 years ago. A couple of miles to the southeast.
What? At Knapford Station?
In the 1920s, our station pilot there was a small tank engine. He had 6 small wheels, a short stumpy funnel, a short stumpy boiler, and an inflated sense of self-importance. He was always fussing about and thought none of us worked as hard as him. He teased us about it, and often startled me with his whistle when I was resting after a long run. We grew tired of this behaviour. Edward was of the opinion that Thomas merely needed to gain some perspective, so I gave him some. One morning he was a bit slow getting started, so I took that opportunity and rushed my departure. In all the confusion, they forgot to uncouple him. I dragged him along behind the express at full mainline speed. I don't think he'd ever run that fast, or that long. Back in those days, the express first stopped at Wellsworth. That's where I let him go. He didn't tease us after that. Now, I can't help thinking, Caden, that you may need a dose of perspective yourself.
You wouldn't. I mean, you were just talking about the consequences of what I did yesterday. What about the consequences of your little prank? Knapford does need a station pilot, and I'm needed here.
Then I hope I don't have to teach such a lesson again. As Miss Hat said, decisions do indeed have consequences.
Gordon replied. Before Caden could say any more, the big engine departed. Caden went back to work. Although he tried to focus, he couldn't help worrying about what Gordon had said. He didn't want to have to be taught a lesson. It had sounded nasty. He would just have to prove himself to the other engines.